This view of Judas Iscariot is curiously reflected in the recently discovered and translated 3rd or 4th century text, the Gospel of Judas. The Gospel of Judas is a document written on papyrus that was discovered near a cave in El Minya, Egypt, in fragmentary form. It was found in the 1970s, and the document was assembled and translated by a team of scholars over a number of years and released to the public in April 2006. A Gnostic text, it claims that Jesus asked Judas to hand him over. According to Jesus, Judas would set Jesus' spirit free from his earthly shell so he would ascend to heaven, and this act would ensure that Judas was set apart from the other disciples and guaranteed a place in heaven. While there are several scholars still interested in the Gospel of Judas, there are many others who remain sceptical. In his 2006 Easter address, Rowan Williams, the Archbishop of Canterbury, strongly denied the historical credibility of the Gospel by saying, "This is a demonstrably late text, which simply parallels a large number of quite well-known works from the more eccentric fringes of the early century church." And he goes on to suggest that the book's publicity derives from an insatiable desire for conspiracy theories. He said, "We are instantly fascinated by the suggestion of conspiracies and cover-ups. This has become so much the stuff of our imagination these days that it is only natural, it seems, to expect it when we turn to ancient texts, especially biblical texts. We treat them as if they were unconvincing press releases from some official source, whose intention is to conceal the real story, and that real story waits for the intrepid investigator to uncover it and to share it with a waiting world. Anything that looks like the official version is automatically suspect." Whichever account of the Passover story we may believe, what is without doubt is how vilified a character Judas Iscariot has become in literature, art, and music, and suggestions of anti-Semitism have been among this vilification. A few modern critics of European culture assert that in the paintings and art of the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, that while other apostles are portrayed as powerfully built Northern Europeans, Judas is always given stereotypically Jewish characteristics. A more modern example can be found in John Feaster's monument clock, the Apostolic Clock. Judas is half the height of the other 11 apostles. He is hunched over and possesses an exaggerated hooked nose. The notes provided at the Hershey Museum, where it is on display, claim the artist made Judas shorter because he considered him to be less of a man than the other apostles, not because of any anti-Semitism. Judas has become the archetype of the betrayer in Western culture, with some role in virtually all literature that tells the Passion story. In Dante's Inferno, he is condemned to the lowest circle of hell, where he is one of 3 sinners deemed evil enough that they are doomed to be chewed for eternity in the mouths of the triple-headed Satan, the other 2 being Brutus and Cassius, who conspired against and assassinated Julius Caesar. And Cassani's The Flight of the Feathered Serpent suggests an untold story of Judas as a spiritual master. Edward Elgar's oratorio, The Apostles, depicts Judas as wanting to force Jesus to declare his divinity and to establish the kingdom on earth. In popular culture, Judas is often portrayed as the archetypal prophet-driven betrayer. In Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical, Jesus Christ Superstar, Judas is shown as a man who loves Jesus and believes his teachings, but fears that the emergence of a new religion will spark a political uprising which the Romans will brutally suppress. Torn between his love of Christ and his fear that the Romans will crush us if we go too far, he regretfully betrays Jesus. the musical portrays Jesus in a very sympathetic light. It is suggested by some that Judas Iscariot is a far more complex character than a simple, greedy, and opportunistic betrayer. Learning of different angles on the betrayal story of Jesus by Judas offers different interpretations upon the story behind the famous kiss of Judas. And it can allow us to understand the complex nature of betrayal and the explosive and almost unmentionable feelings it arouses within us. We all know of betrayal. Perhaps we have been betrayed. Perhaps we have betrayed. I think if we're honest with ourselves, we've all done both. When we have been betrayed, it hurts. It hurts like mad. Why does it hurt so particularly badly? Why do we feel its hurt so much more deeply and acutely than we do other hurts? It is because, I think, betrayal is a fundamental abuse of our trust and our vulnerability. We expose ourselves and leave ourselves open so much. We reveal a lot of ourselves when we let ourselves trust. And so when that trust is taken advantage of, when it is abused, when it is treated so cheaply, we are devastated. And why does betraying evoke such guilt in the betrayer and anger in the onlookers? For the same reason, I guess. The betrayer knows how much was at stake and just what a great gift their behaviour has sullied. And why do we betray? For a variety of reasons, both conscious and unconscious. Greed, status, divided loyalty, for the greater good, because we feel it is the lesser of two evils, because we are responding to all the competing things and needs that make us all human. And how do we respond to being betrayed? How should we respond? I imagine there's no right way. We may choose to confront our betrayer, to decide either publicly or privately to bear them no ill will, yet choose not to be in any kind of relationship with them any longer, to forgive them wholeheartedly, or to establish a step-by-step reconciliation process of approach, commitment, trust, and acceptance. Only you know what is right for you. I would now like to open up this space here with the tea lights for you, as you are able and as you wish, to come forward and light a candle silently for all the betrayals in your life, those you have committed and those you have endured. It will, of course, not be filmed, and it is all in silence.